guys, what is up? And Shadolance back for another review. Today I'm going to be doing my L96A1 Ghillie review, technically for the second time. The other one was not outdated. In fact, it's rather a recent review. It's been done in the past couple of months, so it's not outdated, and you may be asking why I'm doing another review. And it's because when I was transferring the videos from one channel to the other, I accidentally deleted the original Ghillie review. So it's the fact that I don't have the file anymore because I am terrible with backups, and I accidentally deleted the original videos, so I needed to remake it. And honestly, that's okay because some new things have happened since this gun's release. Well, actually, a lot of things have happened since this gun was released, but since the review came out, I've had a couple of different, well, so let's just say there's been a couple of new things. First of all, it's been sold for permanent now, which is incredibly unexpected. I would never have expected Nexon to sell this weapon for permanent. It was on for, if you were Colonel 2 or up, that's the rank you unlock this weapon. I was incredibly happy when I unlocked it. I bought it for like 90 days, did my review on it, and then just enjoyed it for a while. It is one of my favorite weapons now. I love going into quick-scoping matches with this and the Holiday Wolf. I try a couple of wall bangs here. It doesn't really work very well. I thought I would go ahead and try it since I've seen so many people do it in montages, but I've never, ever had that happen for me. So, although I've had it happen to me a lot, and I question whether it's even legit or not, but yeah, that's just my own thing. So let's hop on into the review now and stop idle chatter. Damage of 100, portability of 40, rate of fire of 10, accuracy of 90, and recoil of 65. Recoil doesn't matter because it is a sniper rifle. Bolt action doesn't really matter. Even if it was a semi, I still would rather have the accuracy than the recoil. So, anyway, this is a customizable weapon for everything except damage. That means you can increase the rate of fire from 10 to 13, which is not half bad. That is the exact same as the Andromalius, I do believe. And the accuracy goes from a 90 to a 93, so you're looking at a quite accurate sniper rifle that actually outranks the L96A1 Arctic Wolf in terms of statistics. The damage drop-off on both of these weapons is exactly the same, and they tend to do about the exact same amount of damage. So technically both weapons are exactly identical in terms of stats. However, the Ghillie can get the stat boosts, although keep in mind the recoil on the Ghillie goes from a 65 to a 68 when you do so. But like I said earlier, it doesn't matter because it is a bolt-action sniper rifle. It also, in my opinion, does have a more useful camouflage. So, I mean, that was a complete badass no-scope right there, but anyway. In Europe, this weapon is available at Major 2, and while I don't have any complaints about that, or at least I wouldn't have when this gun was first released quite a few years ago, I honestly say that I am quite glad that this weapon is a much higher ranked weapon because it is quite OP. There's a reason it's exactly the same as an X variant, and nowadays it's actually better than that in X variant. There's a reason for that, and that's because it is actually, well, better than it, in my opinion. You can get this out of a supply crate MYST-G, and if you are a lower rank and you don't feel like buying the Arctic Wolf for permanent, this would not actually be that bad of a gun to renew, even though it is a GP weapon. So it wouldn't be that bad of an idea, to be completely honest. So it is quite the expensive little weapon, though. For 1 day, it is 2100 GP, coming out at 7 days at over 10,000 GP. Even among sniper rifles, that is quite an expensive little toy to play with. Although, in my opinion, it's well worth it, especially if you are skilled with the L9 series. The L9 is the sniper rifle series that has the most variants, and including cousin variants. We're looking at the L96A1, the L96A1 Ghillie, the Arctic Wolf, the Super Magnum, the Black Magnum, the Holiday Wolf, and the two L11 variants, the L115A2 and A3 variants, and the A3 can be forged into the S58 musket, so if you want to consider that, I usually don't put it in the same category, but since it can be forged from that, it's theoretically a cousin variant, so whether you consider it or not is your own personal choice. I'm currently using a very, very famous competitive gameplay setup, the UMP and the L9. This is a very popular setup, and if most people have access to it, the Arctic Wolf or the Ghillie usually replaces the L9. Or if you have the UMP-45, or access nowadays to the UMP-SC, that can sometimes take precedence over the UMP. But the typical UMP variant and L9 variant setup is quite popular among a lot of competitive players. You don't see the L11 series so much used because of the higher magnification scopes. Not everyone likes that, and personally for a gun like this, I do prefer the lower magnification scope. When the accuracy on a rifle like this isn't quite as high, I do prefer to have the lower magnification scope, since the gun is more useful for quick scoping and closer range sniping. So that's just my personal opinion. Out of scope, the spread is not that bad. You could be doing a lot worse. It's not the best in the game, to be honest. I do think there are better rifles for small spread outside of scope. A lot of NX rare variants like the MSR and so on. Those are just good examples. But just looking at the fact that this is a GP gun, it is a high-ranked weapon, and it performs on par or better than quite a few NX standard guns, even some of the newer ones that have been released since this gun's released, although that's kind of unfair to say in a way because this is an older weapon. I mean, let me check the wiki for when it was released. It says it was released in the August 6th, 2008 patch, so right when the gun first came out. The suppressor that's been built into it, I've been asked this many times. It is in the description of the L96A1 Arctic Wolf's description. Well, it's in the description. It's an S1 suppressor. I know that for a fact. That I don't really know how that's supposed to affect the recoil of the gun since it's by default already pretty small. But yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to compare that to the regular L9. So I guess it's just the way it's supposed to work. That does bring up the question, though, as to whether it's bigger or smaller than the Super Magnum and Black Magnum. And also, although I would assume it's an S1 suppressor, I'm not sure that the Holiday Wolf actually has a S1 suppressor on it. It might be an S2. It's definitely not an S3, though. I mean, I can tell from the flash it is definitely not an S3 suppressor. So, although, to be honest, I would never put an S2 suppressor on a sniper rifle, especially a semi-automatic one. If I was going to do it on any sniper, it would be on a bolt action. With a semi, the whole point is to spray, and the chances that even one of the tracers will be seen is pretty high. So, I mean, there's really no point to putting it onto a semi. But for putting it onto a bolt action, it does decrease your chance of a tracer being seen. So maybe it's a little more worth it there. I don't usually bother with S2 suppressors. I don't even think they sound that great. I like the sound of the S3 the most, and the flash reduction does help in games like Quarantine. I've actually been seeing it. Well, I've seen that it's become quite popular to carry sniper rifles into Quarantine. I know that sounds completely insane to a lot of hardcore core players, and personally I would never do it myself. But after seeing some people will use sniper rifles and knocking zombies way back, especially at a distance, it's really useful for helping friends. Although I can see why a G36E might be more useful for that, because you can obviously have much more ammo and still have the higher damage. I can see why a sniper might be useful for saving some friends longer range and grabbing the attention of some further off enemies, so that might be useful. But I'm not a big Quarantine player, so maybe I'm just being stupid talk here, doing stupid talk. But so personally, I say if you get access to this weapon, it is more than well worth your time. I think I did forget to mention that it has an ammo capacity 5 of 15, like the Arctic Wolf and the regular L9. So yeah. Also, I did want to compare this to the regular L96A1 GP variant, since it is the only other GP variant of the gun available. It is a much cheaper sniper rifle, needless to say, at 1400 GP, so the Ghillie is 1.5 times as expensive. It does have the same ammo capacity, and looks like the stats are the exact same, except that we can assume that the spread on the L96A1 Ghillie is smaller due to the S1 suppressor. However, that does give pretty good reason as to why the Ghillie got the customization boosts. And actually, now that I think about it, the L9 is customizable as well. I'd forgotten about that. So actually, if you want to get into theoretical use, the L96A1 is better than the Arctic Wolf these days, although it doesn't have the silencer, and a lot of people do need the silencer, and I can see why that's useful. So personally, I think I would still take the Arctic Wolf over the regular L9. But if I know a lot of you have asked why I haven't bought back my Arctic Wolf yet. That was one of the very first two permanents I ever bought, the first one being the F2000 Tactical, the other one being the Arctic Wolf, and people have asked me why I haven't decided to buy that back. And the sole reason is because, well, I've got the Ghillie for permanent and the L9 for permanent, both customized. So, yeah, I don't need to buy it back. So that answers that question. I also have my Black Magnum for permanent and my Holiday Wolf for permanent. That's four variants of the L9 for perm. I don't need another. I've got plenty for Woggle, plenty for anything else, plenty for whatever I want to do, so I'm set. And to be honest, this gun is well worth the wait. I mean, it's an excellent weapon. I would go for... If I was Colonel 1, I would go out of my way to rank up to Colonel 2 just for the purpose of getting access to this weapon. It's well worth it. So, as far as the customization and the Gun Emporium, go ahead and fully customize it. Like I said before, recoil doesn't matter. So getting the extra 3 points of accuracy at 93 is well worth that in comparison. Keep in mind that the Holiday Wolf does have the base 95 accuracy, so the Holiday Wolf is theoretically the best variant, although I still prefer my Black Magnum and Super Magnum. So if you're looking statistically, the Holiday Wolf is the best, but that just kind of wraps it up. But I still prefer my Black Magnum. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this second review. I know some of you probably don't care about it as much because it's already been seen before, but I do hope you enjoyed the gameplay and you enjoyed the review. If you did, please drop a like, rate, comment, subscribe, and yeah, keep watching my videos, and do make sure to check out my recommended channels list. I have it there for a reason. If you guys aren't able to watch some of my videos, I do have other ones up. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Shadolance out.